Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by the House of Worship Technology YouTube channel. I'm Matt, and this is another episode of Church Tech Tip Tuesday, where today we are finishing our three-part series on gain structure. If you have not checked out the first two episodes, go back and watch those. Week one, I'm going to give you a basic overview of why gain structure is important and a few definitions. Week two, we talk about how to properly set your amps and really get them optimized for your room so that you have enough volume for the type of service that you're trying to run. This week, I'm going to give you a practical step-by-step method for how you can use the unity gain method of setting your gain structure, of getting your input gain so that you can get a good sounding mix. And we're going to walk through that step by step in just a few minutes here. But before I do that, I want to tell a really quick story. I was just at a church a few days ago for a consultation. And I was there, and the pastor and the volunteers on the sound team, they were talking about some of the issues that they were having, and so I said, let's go to the mixer. Let's just listen to some music. And so we get to the mixer, and the pastor plugs in his phone and brings up faders, and we're listening to some music, and I'm going, okay, doesn't sound terrible, but it could definitely use something. Felt like some low end was missing, and they had some line arrays and some subs that were all mounted from the ceiling. And so I'm listening back to the music, and then, okay, well, I feel like that could be a little bit better. And I was discussing that probably could use a little bit more low end. And then I said, let's go ahead and listen to your microphone. And so the pastor pulls out his wireless microphone, and he uses a wireless handheld, and he starts to just kind of talk and talk, sort of like how he would preach. And he's reading some scripture, and it's clipping a lot. Not nearly the volume that they wanted to be at, and to almost achieve the volume that they wanted. It's just, distorted, fuzzy. I've got it soloed, the channel that he's talking into, and I'm watching that meter, and it's just, it's just pegging the top of the needle in the red, Clip City. And so I was like, okay, this is obviously a gain structure problem. And so the first thing that I did was go back to the amp room, and I raised the amps up a little bit and discussed what we talked about in last week's video. And then I came back to the mixer, and I listened to some music, and I definitely raised the level on the subwoofer amplifier a little bit more than I did the main output, the left-right amplifier. And I listened to some music, and I'm thinking, okay, this is sounding a lot better already. And everybody else was saying, yeah, this is sounding better. And so I had the pastor pull out his microphone, and I brought the channel fader up, and then I slowly bringing the gain up, and much clearer. And then we were able to go through a few of their other channels, and just really quickly, at less than a half an hour, we were able to get them what they had been wanting their room to sound like when he preaches and when the musicians play their instruments. So I just used this story really quickly to illustrate, again, the importance of gain structure. It really is the foundation of your mix, and so you really need to learn how to set your mixer, how to set your amplifier up properly for the sound that you're trying to achieve. And so with that said, I want to go through and show you how I would approach this. So what I'm going to do is I've got a guitar track that I've pre-recorded, and I'm just going to have that acoustic guitar track. It's just some strumming, and I'm going to show you step by step. So imagine with me that your worship leader is on stage, and he's strumming some chords to his acoustic guitar, and you need to run the sound check. And you've already completed the steps from last week's video to optimize your amplifier so that you can use this method of finding unity gain on your mixer to be able to run a sound check. So here we go. Let's look at the mixer. Okay everyone, here is my step-by-step method for making sure that your gain structure is correct. First thing that I'm going to do is mute the channel. I'm going to bring the fader up to 0, and we see that we've got some signal there. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit the solo button and unmute the channel. Hitting the solo button is going to let me see on the meters over here on the right hand side of the console the signal that I've got coming in, and then I'm going to slowly bring up my gain until I see that I'm peaking around 0, and that is going to be my step-by-step method for how I'm going to set the trim of every channel on the mixer. Well, guys, there you go. It's very simple. Very quickly, we're able to get the level that we need out of this acoustic guitar, and you would just repeat this over and over again for all the instruments that you have. You've got a kick drum mic'd up, you've got a snare drum mic'd up, your overheads, your bass guitar, and then your vocalists. You just go through all of your channel strips and do exactly as we did, and it's going to make your sound checks go smoother, and I think that it's going to give you a better result. If you're not already doing this, I think that you're going to be able to get a better sounding mix this week in your church by following these steps. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks, guys, and I will see you next Tuesday.